Welcome to Bangor Golf Course. My name's McKay, I'm head greenkeeper at Bangor.
I'm deputy head greenkeeper Philip.
We're going to put together just to show everybody processes we're going to carry out over the next week to our greens. So after we do the double Scarify, we're going to put on a brown top band, which is our time, and we've got it, so it's 80% of the bag and 20% is going to be a creeping band. Really just to fill in the scars quickly from the anthracnose and from root damage that we've had from trees this year. That's the only reason we're using the creeping band this year, because we find that it fills in the gaps very, very quickly compared to the brown top pad itself. Over the 10,000 square metres, we're putting on approximately 60 kilograms.
We're going to go with 2.5 kilograms of creeping bent per green, and obviously with our bigger greens we'll put more on. We'll just have to calculate ourselves, but as you can see, the seedlings are like dust nearly, so the perfect time to be putting it is weather like this. So we'll just hope the weather holds up for the next week.
What we're doing is we've got two on the green, just setting them up at the minute. What we're aiming for is about 7.5 to 8 inches down into the ground to battle the black layer. And the spacing in between each hole is going to be roughly about 2.5 inches. So that's exactly what we're doing here. As you can see, he's making sure everything's set up properly in the verti-draining.
Got a really fancy welding rod here to get our depth. We'll check a depth and we'll stay behind the verti-draining all day to make sure that it's hitting the correct depth and the correct spacing. Because obviously if we're going to go through the greens, you're going to have wear on the actual tines themselves. So as soon as it goes on, it'll start to lessen and lessen because of the wear. What we'll just have to keep an eye on is the depth that we're getting exactly where we want it. We're going to 7.5 to 8 inches deep to break up the black layer. What that allows is air into the greens, and we'll keep these open for a couple of hours. Putting oxygen and air into the green will really help break up the black layer, and then we'll come up behind this here and we'll verti-cut, which will give us our tills for our seed. Then we'll overseed, and then we'll sand, and we'll leave the sand on for an hour. So hopefully the weather stays the way it is. It's meant to be good all week. Let the sand dry, and then we'll brush it and mat it in, and then we'll have a look over the greens and see if we need more sand in certain greens, because we have bigger greens and more sand needed. The likes of our 11th green is a wee bit wetter in the winter, so last year we went deeper with a verti-drainer, so we'll just keep an eye on that this year, have a look at it and see if it needs a wee bit more sand or a wee bit more TLC.
Right now on the green, we are scarifying it with the Toro. Lifting out a lot of dead matter. Our main reason is that we can make these nice tills in the grass to let our seedlings into. The green will be cut left to right and right to left. So in 2 passes over it, we'll blow the green completely clean, put our seed on, and then we'll sand it in.
So you can see in amongst it all, there's a lot of longer strands of grass that we don't want. A lot of dead matter that we're taking out as well. And when you look at the greens, you wouldn't actually think that until you actually get into them.
Good morning, my name's Jackie Hamilton. At one stage I was the course convener here at Bangor, one of the very few in Northern Ireland. And then I was asked to be lady captain, so unfortunately I had to give that up. And then just Last year I lost my partner, so I started to volunteer again on the course, and it gives me a reason to get up in the morning, even though it's early, and I come out and do bits and pieces and hopefully a bit more of a hand than a hindrance.
The golf course never stops. Golf course is still open. We obviously close the greens for maintenance, but we've obviously cut our winter greens, frost greens, temporary greens, whatever you may call them at your course. Just make sure that the golf can still play. So here we are, we're putting the seed down. It's going down at 4 grams per square metre. This fairway was cut yesterday with our 236 robot. We've brought 7 Kress robots, 236s in, to look after our big side. Cost on them was roughly around £90,000 for 7 robots. Our main thinking behind it was Roughmore is over 100,000. A fairway more is probably sitting close to that as well. And that's before you have a man sitting on it and your fuel. These 7 robots cut the whole big side for us, which is 100,000 square metres. We just let them work away. They work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I think the great thing about the Kress robots is they actually never stop. The only thing we have to keep on top of is maybe a bit of blowing, and that's about it. Changing the blades every couple of weeks, but working away all day, all night, no issues. Here we are on our 16th green, just an example of anthracnose with the drought in the summer and the footfall of golf. You can actually see where people are leaving their trolleys and then walking up the green. That's maybe the problem with having such a narrow entrance to a green, but exactly why we're going to be doing the work here, overseeding the greens. So as you can see, we've verti-drained this green and we've double scarified it for the tills, and this was the part of the green that had the anthracnose. We've put just a wee taste extra grass seed down, and you can see it actually in there. When you're spraying it, it looks like dust, it's hard to see, but when you actually look close, you can see the hundreds of thousands and millions of seed laying in the tills and just on the surface.
So the process that we carried out, Greens Renovation, that we've just finished, we have verti-drained them with a 12mm tine down to a depth of 8 inches. However, this wasn't meant to be the case, and that wasn't the case up to maybe a fortnight ago. Where all of a sudden we found ourselves starting to lose bits of grass due to anthracnose, especially on greens which had a narrow entrance where the traffic was concentrated onto the front of a green and then people leaving the green. So instead of just doing a small solid tine with a 12mm tine down to 45mm, we've had to go to drastic actions and really disturb them. But the disturbance now, back to where they were within 10 days. So this is the last process of the Greens Renovation. We've already applied somewhere in the region between 34 and 36 tonnes of an HS Master sand onto the greens, and now we start matting it in. This works the sand into the holes and also allows us to level the surface again after all the work that we've just carried out on the greens. We use HS Master sand because of the size of the particles and the shape of the particles and the percolation rate that HS Masters possesses. It allows good water movement down through the surface. It creates good air spaces and air pockets within the soil, therefore allowing plenty of air availability to the roots of the grass.